Okay, I think we're live. Let me share my screen. Okay. Yeah, so for today, we're mostly just going to talk about some OKR related stuff. And yeah. But before we do that, there's one change that I want to make sure people know about. Yeah, so I know that before we have been using the DenHub thing for quite some time now, and we've set this biweekly milestones, and we've asked people to add issues in the time estimate to their work items, and this created quite a few problems. So one thing that I've observed that it is a more heavyweight process than some people would like. And also it kind of creates this pressure to break down some maybe larger work items into small ones, and sometimes artificially, which isn't really great, and does kind of makes it harder to actually track the progress of to have the continuity of the discussions, because now that one issue can now be broken down into 3 issues, and then it's harder to actually go through all of them and look at discussion follow-ups there. And so after I've discussed with several people who have more experience with product management and so on, and also have discussed with Max, we decided to change this overall process to a more lightweight one. So GitHub conveniently has this project feature, which can actually, you actually can create a project under one organization, and that can actually span multiple repositories in the same organization, which is actually one of the reasons why we started using DenHub. But now that GitHub has this nice feature, we are switching back to using GitHub. And another advantage of doing this is that people don't need to install like DenHub to view our progress and what we have been working on, and it's more transparent to the community to see what we are currently working on. So actually, a couple of teams, as you can see, EVM teams are already doing that. Or teams also have been using this for several weeks now. Yeah. So starting from this year, we're going to try to use this. How it works is that basically I've created some projects. Those projects usually are have fairly large scope. For example, if we take a look at this one, it's called Rebuild Syncing, which is to redesign the entire syncing code. Currently it just has 3 columns. I want to keep it kind of as simple as possible. We might add another columns in the future if needed. Yeah, but basically it's very simple. Like it has to do in progress and done, and it's automatically added. There's automation basically. Once an issue is created and added to the project, it automatically gets into this column. When there's a PR attached to some issue, it would move it in progress, or you can move it manually. And then when the issue is closed, it will be moved to down. And yeah, so that's pretty much how it works. And so this also gives people more freedom and autonomy as to the pace that they would like to work on their projects. I think that is actually more suitable for us because a lot of work we do require extended period of time. Yeah, the 2 weeks milestone appear to not work so well. And yeah, we will see how this works. And any concerns with this?
Could you better explain? Can you show us like how can I see other teams? I would like basically to see an example like how other teams organize the project, because right now for our team I don't see much.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the example. Right. So this is how EVM organizes one of their projects is phase 2, which is for the BetaNet launch. They have one more column which is called in review. So basically, yeah, this is basically how they organize it. They have to do in progress in review and done. And well, the only difference is they have in review, which is the PRs that are in review. And yeah. And then this is basically how they organize it, as you can see. Is there something specific that you want to know about, Piotr?
No, there was nothing really specific. I mean, the question is, should we also continue using the Zen?
Yes. Yeah, good question. Yeah, we're discontinuing doing that, and we're going to basically exclusively using GitHub going forward, so that people don't have to now add issues to ZenHub and assign estimates. We're just going to, as I said, we're trying to make this more lightweight for people. And yeah, but the only thing you need to do is basically add to some projects. So I think I have created the most of the projects that we're going to be working on. Although the network one I haven't created yet. I'll do that hopefully today. So yeah, so those are, as I talk about the OKRs for this quarter, those are the things that we would like to work on. Yeah.
When we're making an individual ticket to add to a project, is it still supposed to be scoped for approximately 2 weeks of work, or can an individual issue be larger than that?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, yeah. So the answer is yes. It can be larger than that, and that's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to switch to this, because I want to avoid having very artificial breakdown of the issue into smaller scopes, and sometimes people they would rather well, I mean, there are different preferences, but some people would prefer that they have their freedom to do a larger project with a less strict timeline. And yeah, I understand that's not the case for everyone. And yeah, if you have concerns regarding that, feel free.
I mean, my concern with the project is that right now the project, what's the timeline of the project? Is it going to be forever? Is it going to be like a milestone that's 2 week? Because if it's going to be too large, then you will end up having like large projects with, let's say, hundreds of issues, and then you cannot really. The nice thing about the ZenHub was that I could let's say filter out and see what's happening right now for this milestone, like what people are doing on the team, or even for myself, like what I am working in progress at the moment, and then I can easily filter out all the older tasks that were done long time ago. So that wasn't like a nice filtering, and in here I don't see us creating and having any milestones.
Yeah, so right, so several things, right? So yeah, currently there is no kind of timeline assigned, but when we talk about the OKRs, it would okay, I guess let me take a step back. So basically we'll now rely more on the quarterly OKRs to kind of gauge the progress of the team, because unlike some other teams that are more feature driven or more product driven, the things that we do sometimes can take, sometimes are on a longer time scale, and having those 2 weeks breakdowns, I feel like it's not as useful as some of the more product driven teams. So in terms of how we gauge the progress, yeah, it's as I said, the OKR would be kind of the things that we will use to reflect on our delivery and productivity, and also within the if you look at this, for example, the EVM team, what they use, like you can still see that things being moved from to do to in progress to in review and to done. So there is still this kind of progress that you can see, although, yeah, I mean, it's just that it doesn't have this kind of breakdown by the timeline. But I myself don't see that as a huge problem, although, yeah, if people do think they want to have more direction on that, feel free to suggest.
Anyway, I'm fine with the way that we do the projects, but I would still at least add it would be still good to at least add the milestones in terms of the 2 weeks, because then it's easier to look through the issues. Let's say I want to see issues later on that will, let's say, finished in some B weeks, then I can go and filter later go and filter the issues. It's just easier for I would still prefer if at least milestones were added, so then I could at least add to the issues when they are being finished at the time when they were finished, and it's just easier to organize. I mean, it's not I mean, at least it would be nice. It's I think it's nice to at least being able to add the milestone as just for the filtering purposes. So I mean, the issue is that I cannot create the milestones myself.
Well, first of all, I think you can. But okay, so your concern is basically that you want to be able to see all the issues finished within some time period.
Yeah, so it's nice to be able to see, let's say, the issues that, let's say, in this week or in the 2 B weeks that I am right now, I have opened, and then I need to, let's say, need to ship them. What's in the process? Just easier to organize. I mean, I'm fine. We can still create the project as it is, but it's also it's nice to just have the possibility of adding like a custom flag or like a milestones, and then later on I can take a look at the time, go and look at the timeline, what still needs to be done. I'm just saying that the ZenHub has this nice feature that you can filter. You can filter by person and then by the milestone, which is by 2 week, and then you have some kind of idea. I mean, the issue that we previously had was that we were actually splitting the issues and trying to fit it into and assigning the points. That was the issue, but overall it was working. But the good thing was that there was a nice filtering, so I could just look look at the team and see that who is doing something in which week. Like I can always go to the past week and see what issues were closed. It's easier. It's just easier to organize, I think. But I mean, the projects are right now will be like one big, will be just really big, and it's might be hard to. I don't see. It might be just hard to do the filtering. It's not as nice on the ZHub. I mean, you can create. I see I don't see. I mean, you can probably create some kind of filters, but I don't really see in here being created. once.
Yeah, I'm not.
necessary.
I think I'm not. Yeah, completely familiar with this setup yet.
I mean,
but yeah, I think. Yeah, okay, I understand.
I mean,
your
my point
concern.
is in here in the filter cards, in technically you could create a query that does everything, but then every time I want to do a search, I would have to enter write a couple of queries to do that, which is just time consuming. If I wanted to do it with the filter card, so the Zenhub was just easier for just for organizing issues. Just a little bit. So then that way I don't really have to see all the issues that were already done, and I can only focus and just look at the issues, just main issues. But anyway.
Okay. I mean, yeah, we can discuss and see how we want to do this. So yeah.
Anyway, if you can just keep creating just the milestones, but you don't need to use them. You just create them and use them as a tag. So just to make them searchable. I mean, it doesn't have to be mandatory for people.
Sorry for interruption. Piotr, could you try the link I've sent to you as a link for near core issues that are filtered by project? So maybe with specific assignee. So it's a project with tasks assigned on me. So maybe it's what exactly you are looking for.
Okay, yeah. So basically, the idea is that we want to kind of reduce the overall process overhead. Like having two set of different processes going on at the same time is not ideal for this for what we're doing. Like if that's the case, we it kind of defeats the purpose of what we're trying to do here. But I also understand.
Let's try the new process, and I am fine. Let's just try the new process for now.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I understand your concern, and I'll try to see if there's some way we can address it. Maybe there are some features that I'm not just not aware of right now, and yeah. Yeah. So basically, yeah. Going forward, people will be able to see here the kind of projects that we're working on, and inside each project, some of them are kind of empty right now, but ideally inside each of the project, you'll be able to see. Actually, I don't think there are. Yeah, you'll be able to see the tasks and their statuses. I mean, we can make those more fine-grained if we want. And yeah, if you have concerns that you don't want to, voice publicly, feel free to DM me or talk to me in private. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. And yeah, so that's this part for now. And what we wanted to do is to do a review. Yeah, we wanted to do a review of the last quarter's OKR and see how how it's how we're doing. So before we do this, I wanted to mention that last time was the first time we tried this process of setting up the OKRs, and it is inevitably inaccurate, or it is not necessarily the because we have not adapted to the process. We probably are not doing a great job of this, which is totally fine. So I don't think people should be worried if if some key result is not delivered. We mainly want to use this as an opportunity to understand how we can better set the OKRs going forward. And yeah, Piotr, you have some question?
Just a quick question. Can you send me the link to the project? Because I
Yeah,
cannot
sure.
find it. That's the project for our team.
Yeah, sure. I'll just send in the chat, I guess.
I mean, okay, because like, I mean, this is the list of the project, but my question is, where is the project for our team? Because I see, let's say, the project chain and runtime stability improvement, but this is something that is, I mean, this is project for two teams, the chain and runtime. So is it?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. That's a great great point. So currently there is a slight change of scope, and our team, which calling it chain team, which I guess would no longer be immensely accurate, and but I don't actually know what's a better name. Maybe people can also propose better name. But basically now we're responsible for I guess 3 major pieces of things. One is the network, the peer-to-peer network, which that's something we've already been working on before. And another part is I guess the proper chain, or which is the consensus plus sharding and plus everything related to block production and then chunk distribution, all that. And now we're also responsible for transaction runtime, which is the execution engine of the of the blockchain, and everything related to transactions and applying transactions and update of states and so on and so forth. So this part will be collaborating with Evgeny Kuzyakos' team. So his team would mostly be working on the DevX side of things, which mostly related to small protocol improvements that makes DevX better. And our team would be more responsible for things that requires larger changes, like things like global storage, things like parallel runtimes, and so on and so forth. So yeah, sorry that I didn't make that clear to people. And yeah, thanks Piotr for bringing this up.
Okay, thanks for the explanation.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the OKRs. Okay, so I guess I'll just go through them one by one, then we look at the completion rate, which I assume will be not great, which is totally fine. There was also some change of directions I was seeing last quarter. So yeah. Okay, so reduce memory leak to at most 5 megabytes per day. I think this is mostly done. The only part that's missing is that we actually observed another memory issue that's not that is another issue on its own, but it's not, I guess, not related to memory leak per se, but it can also cause the memory usage to spike, which I think Piotr is actually working on the investigation. So
share the screen, please.
Oh, I'm not sharing the screen. Oh, wait a minute. Did I stop? Wait. I thought I was sharing the screen, but somehow.
I think you were, but
okay, somehow stopped.
Okay. You stopped for some reason.
Okay, I don't think. Okay, yeah, that's weird. Okay, so I was talking about this reduction, memory leak, reduce memory leak.
I mean,
issue.
I saw that the memory leak is right now when I measured it was around 1 megabyte per day, and that was related to us opening a new HTTP connection every 10 seconds to the Explorer. And I didn't see the other 4 megabytes leak anymore, probably due to code changes.
Yeah.
So I only saw one place, but it's not that important to take care of it.
Right. Yeah. So the other issue I talk about is
requires some time to investigate what it is.
Yeah. So Yeah, so the other issue I talked about is probably, yeah, I don't think it's fair to attribute.
And the
easy
other
here.
issue is, I mean, this is not related to memory
Yeah,
leak, but to the
yeah,
memory
it's-
spike. So
Mhm.
to the memory spike. So we saw sometimes the memory usage jumped, and I added right now. I added a code that can print those situations and even can measure the maximum amount of memory that was being used by a particular thread when a method was executed inside one of the actors. So I'm right now just preparing a change that we should be able to merge, and basically we'll have like more stats, like we'll have information print per thread stats. So in addition to printing the performance stats, I will also print like the memory used by each thread, and also we'll have the information like for each function, like how much was the maximum amount of memory that was used during the function. And
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think we can say that this is all down. Yeah, the other issue is not. Yeah, it's probably, let's say it's all down. So yeah, I guess the other one is actually related more to like the security. Yeah, so fix existing issues in security advisory. Think I'm okay. Well, I'm not. Let's see. I don't. Maybe I should stop sharing for. Oh, because we're This is difficult because I don't want to open this on a public call. But yeah, also I myself don't have a very good estimate here. I think we have closed a few security issues, but definitely not all of them. So I'll put 50% for now, and I'll actually go back after this call and see and actually check the actual issues. So use feature flags to have fine-grained control of protocol upgrades. So I think this is, I would say it's 90% done. So that all the infrastructure is there, and it's already being used. The part that's not done is that we have not finished a full release to a stable version with this process. So I would say it's not fully, not 100% done yet. And keep syncing time below 8 hours for mainnet. So Alex is not here today. He said he's made some quite a bit of progress on Lightspeed sync. However, it is not done yet, and it's not clear whether after his change it would make it below 8 hours, because his change does not change block sync at all. The only parts affected is header sync, which arguably takes quite a long time because we have almost 20 million blocks on mainnet right now. So I would say this part is probably more closer to maybe 40% done. So the part the single sharded mainnet we are doing like kind of okay. I think 70% is a decent number, and just for context, we're not actually. So for the OKRs, we're not setting it in a way such that we are confident that we can that the target would be 100%. So we would necessarily that would basically mean that we underestimated our capacity, and it's always better to overshoot for a little bit. So now let's look at sharding, which because of various things, sharding is kind of delayed in a way. So I wouldn't be surprised if the completion rate here is not great. For example, this one is just not done at all. For example, this one is not done at all. And I think this one is also not done at all. Yeah, so Michael, if you can give some estimate here on this one, which is the only one that we worked on for the last quarter.
Yeah, we did definitely make progress there. We are able to process more transactions than when we started without anyone getting kicked out, but we didn't really hit the goal that we wanted to in terms of the throughput. So actually, what does this specifically say? Greater than
one shard
times 4. Yeah, so I don't think we hit that. Yeah, we did not hit that. So maybe we'll call this like, I don't know, 33% done. We did make progress on it, and we are still
yeah. So well, just to actually get some actual numbers. So what's the maximum we were able to get out of 8 shards? Is it around 1,000 TPS? Or
it depends on what specifically you're asking about. We didn't do function call tests at all. We were focusing only on transfers. And then there's a question of how long the network will stay up without anyone getting kicked out. So I think with 500 TPS, we were able to maintain it indefinitely. Like I didn't run a test where it failed. And then I think right now I'm looking at 2,000 TPS, and there it's failing after about let's see, it's like after 4-ish epochs, someone gets kicked out. So that's where we're at right now.
Okay, but for for 1 shard, the kind of for transfers, the TPS you can get is around 1,000, right? If I recall correctly.
Yeah, I think it's closer to 800 than 1,000, but yeah, it's around there.
Okay. Yeah. So well, assuming we have 2,000, then it would be closer to like 2x or instead of 4x. But that's fine. We can say we have maybe 25% down here.
Sure. Yeah. Because you don't quite have 2,000, right? Validators do still get kicked out.
Oh yeah. But what I meant is, even if we have 2,000, then it would be like more like 2x, and that's only for transfers and function calls. We didn't even have time to measure. Although it's not clear how much work you need to get to 4x. Maybe it's not the I don't think the work there is an equal amount. So
yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of the minimum, right? The hardware minimum. The main reason that this is at 0 is because there's no way to to know what the minimum is until we actually have a working.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, a lot of those are just not like we just didn't get there. Like we didn't. We were too like ambitious, and we think we can do all those things but we didn't, which is totally fine. We'll just learn from the mistakes that we have, and be more realistic this time. I mean, I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing, even though it looks bad on paper. As I said, that this is the first time we did this, so the result doesn't matter as much. So I think going forward, we'll just try to improve on how we set the OKRs and have better understanding and better estimate of things. Okay. So anyone have questions regarding this part, like the review of last quarter's OKR? Okay, looks like no. Okay, then let's look at this quarter. Okay, I think I wrote down something, but maybe it's not complete. Yeah, I mean, definitely we should discuss it here, and I'll try to modify it afterwards. So I mean, the overall goals, the overall objectives are mostly the same as last quarter. Like, one thing is that we're still working on stable and secure and performant mainnet, single sharded mainnet, because we still have quite a few lingering issues there. And we're still working towards sharding, which same thing as last quarter. And yeah, so the only other thing is that I have is that I would like to see an effort on pushing the spec of the protocol, because multiple people have mentioned to me that currently the knowledge sharing part isn't great, and people don't have a full overall understanding of how the entire chain and also including runtime works, and which is not great. And I think one of the ways we can address that is to have a more complete protocol spec. So that's why I would like to push for this this quarter. And for some of them, we do already have some work in progress draft. And yeah, so the goal is to mostly finish them this quarter, which I hope we will be able to do. So I think for sharding, I think this one I will be working on with Alex on this. And so network is already in progress. So Marcelo has a draft in progress, but that one can be a bit outdated. I guess I shouldn't assign to Marcelo because Marcelo is actually not on the. How do I unassign? Huh? Well, looks like I cannot figure out how to unassign. Anyways, I'll try to figure out this later. But yeah, I think. Oh, okay. Oh, you cannot assign to people. Looks like interesting. Well, yeah. So I'll try to work with Marcelo to finish up the first version. Then this quarter, we're actually going to try to make some changes to the network, and yeah, Epoch Manager. I think. So Misha has a draft. Why is Misha not here? Okay, it's weird. Okay, I'll do this later. Misha has a draft from a while ago, and I think that part didn't change too much, so it shouldn't be too hard to finish it up. And state spec, well, this is completely not there, and I think I hope Misha will be able to work on this. Yeah. And okay, let's go to the mainnet part. Yeah, fixing. Yeah, this will still have a few security issues that we need to fix across chain and runtime. Well, this would actually be multiple people working on this. And well, we still have the same thing from last quarter, which we didn't fully deliver. So as I said, Alex Kuprin will be working on this task. And yeah, there's also quite a few issues with the current network, which I have discussed with Marcelo, and it does currently, there are some issues with scaling up to a large number of nodes. And it's one of those things that we want to address this quarter as well. And just for context, Piotr will be working on this. And so we're still, moving towards sharding. Yeah, so this one, so this, I guess Michael was to be working on this one that we didn't fully finish last quarter. I think, yeah, this one, so it's basically the new block producer, chunk producer selection algorithm. That's, I think Michael would also be working on. And for spawning multiple runtimes, there's actually, we have people joining very soon that we will work on this. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it right now. So currently we have, I think, 4 people actively working on the chain team. And we will actually expand to at least 2 more this quarter. So yeah, there's actually a change in the number of people we will have. That also impacts on the number of tasks we can finish. But yeah. Anyways, do people have concerns and on the existing part, and also what else do everyone think that we should work on that's not on here right now?
I worry about the current scope a little bit. I know you said that the scope isn't meant to be 100% completed at the end of the quarter, but I feel like the scope is probably slightly too big even to hit, say, 75%.
Okay.
I guess you said that there are more people joining as well, so I don't know. Maybe that's not true, but.
Yeah, there are more people joining, but we should also be realistic, as you suggested. So, is there some specific suggestion that you have here? For example, do you suggest removing this part, for example, or is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is unlikely that we will both be able to hit the 4x TPS with 8 shards and get the block producer and chunk producer algorithm done. I don't know which is more important, so I'm not sure which one is the one to push to the next quarter. But I think the probability of doing both is pretty low.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I think they're equally important, right? But it's just it's just that you have already been working on this for the past quarter, so it makes sense for you to continue working on this. And
sure. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and then I feel like in a way, making this work is kind of a prerequisite to move forward with with introducing chunk producer, because then there's more actors in the system, and it becomes even harder for us to get to this if we do not do it right now and then do this first, and then I think it will just makes even harder for us to diagnose problems that we currently have. So yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, so
then yes, I would suggest removing the next one and pushing it to the next quarter. Just because I think the most likely outcome is that it'll have a 0 at the end, just like it did previously.
That's a very good point. Yeah, I'll do all the modification afterwards. And after I've done with this, I'll post it in the chat for everyone to look at. And yeah, thanks, Michael, for the suggestion. And anything else that people would like to suggest here? Anything that looks unreasonable, or anything that's extremely important, but I somehow forgot about it and didn't mention it here.
I think that the specification part is like too much work, and this work is not that urgent, and I think we are not going to have much progress in this part during this quarter. So I don't know if we should really have it here.
Okay, so it seems that you have two concerns. One is that it's not urgent, and second is that the scope is too large, right? So so for the concern that it's not urgent, I mean, it depends on how we view it, right? So I think it is important in the sense that for people, because we actually do have several people who will be joining this quarter. I mean, it would be nice if people who joined would be able to have a, you know, have a better way, have a faster way to understand the system and to onboard. And I mean, that's only part of it. Another part is that we now actually have a growing community, and people do want to know. I mean, not only within the team, I think even within the team, there are people who think that we need to do a better job of this, and they don't fully understand the entire system. And outside of it, there are like a lot of people from the community who would like to see, to understand better how our protocol works. So I mean, I do think this work is quite important. And as to urgency, while it is true that it might not be as urgent as, you know, fixing some of the issues that we have currently, but I feel like if we, you know, if we always think this way, then we will actually never get to it, and this actually prevents more people from contributing to the to our project, because if the knowledge is not properly shared with people and the that people that are in the community that do not have a way to understand how our protocol works, then that naturally limits the help that we can get from outside of the community, and that's in contradiction with and what we want to do as an organization. And I mean, we want to be able to make this more and more community driven, and to get to not have the knowledge bottlenecks in our system. So yeah, that's my that's my thinking here. And to the concern that the scope is too large, I think I think that's a good point. So specifically, which part do you suggest we, you know, postpone or remove, if or like which part do you think is too large, or you think that every one of them is too large?
It's difficult to say which specific parts. Like, I think we maybe expect all of the specification group to be kind of long term, so to not expect like much of this to be done in this quarter specifically, but like make it for the whole year maybe. And also, don't even know we have like the species. I think we don't even have basic parts like for specific format of blocks and transactions anywhere written down, documented. So we're
that actually I think we do. So for example, transactions. Yeah, we actually do have the format of transactions written down at least, and all the errors. Blocks, yeah, that's a good point. We probably don't have blocks.
There are also internal parts like cryptographic specification. So here we have signature, but we don't have any specification what is the exact format of signatures. And if we look at lower level pieces, like some other basic types like account ID, what is the exact format of serialization of account ID? I expect it to be like Borscht string, but I don't think I don't know if it's explicitly documented anywhere. And there are other things. For example, we have this erasure code for chunks. We don't have specification of this code. And if you look, there are many stuff that we don't have documented like this.
Yes, that's a very good point. Maybe I should be more. Yeah, I mean, I definitely do think that there's a lot of work there needs to be done, and this is by no means a complete set of the specs that we're missing. For example, the spec on runtime is mostly missing, which is not even listed here because that's also on its own a ton of work, and also the spec on contract runtime, right? How the WASM stuff is executed is also not here. Because that's on its own is a ton of work, and also there's a separate team working on that. So I mean, I do agree that there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but and I agree with you, Evgeny, that the part you said are missing are actually missing. But there is a kind of question of priority, as you suggested. I mean, basically, my suggestion is to have some of the high-level stuff done first, and then this will already give people a kind of sufficiently high or sufficiently low-level understanding of the protocol, and then we can then work on the smaller missing pieces, like how the cryptographic primitives are defined and how the erasure code is defined, and so on and so forth. And also to the question that there's too much scope. So this, for the network spec and Epoch Manager spec, we already have a existing draft for it. So I assume it's not. I mean, Misha and Marcelo can maybe comment on this, but I don't think it requires a significant amount of effort to push those over to the finish line. I mean, Marcelo and Misha, if you would like to comment on the existing draft that you've written last year, or maybe, yeah, I think it's last year.
Yeah, for networking, probably it will take a few days. The problem is that I'm mostly focused on Bridge, but I guess I can schedule some days to discuss with you and finish it.
Yeah, I can take over from there. It's not a problem, but yeah, we definitely need to discuss with you because you know this stuff better. And yeah, and also Epoch Manager spec.
Yeah,
I also
for network it should be doable in the time frame.
Yeah. So I think Okay, I think so maybe I'll remove one of those two because state spec and also sharding, those are both very large. And I'll probably break this down into smaller pieces, break it down maybe into two separate ones. And maybe I'll also remove this one just because of the scope. It's probably too large. And we might not be able to complete all of them this quarter, which I think is fine. It's and yes, the task like this, I mean, objective like this will probably be one of the objectives throughout this year. So which is totally fine. And yeah. What other concerns do people have here? Okay, looks like no. So before we go, I want to share that we actually have a sharding roadmap, and looks like people are not actually aware of it. So I've made this, and I've shared it, I think, in the in the chat, and but maybe some people didn't look at it, which is totally fine. I just want to mention here to everyone on the call that there is a sharding roadmap, and this is done purely based on my speculation of how things can go, which, as you know, is probably not the most accurate thing. So if people, and please take a look at this, and I mean, I'll first share it here and then also share it in the chat, I suppose. And if you think that something is outrageously wrong and like I'm off by like 2 months, which is very possible, then please let me know. Or you think something that definitely should be there that is missing, please also let me know. And I want to make this as accurately as possible, although I know it's extremely hard because we're looking at something that's more than half a year from now. So the estimate would naturally be inaccurate, but still want to have a better understanding, because this is not only for us, it's also for other teams and also for maybe even marketing to see when we're going to deliver on sharding. So yeah, please take a look and let me know if something doesn't look right. Yeah, so that's all I have to discuss today. Anything else that other people want to discuss? Okay, looks like no. So I will stop here, and everyone have a good week and see you next week.